Look at the chandelier above his head. That has a loose chain.
What is this bow doing here on this balcony during this wedding?
Yeah. I ran across a question that I wanted to throw by you that I saw on a Reddit post where I find all sorts of fascinating questions. And I wanted to get your take on how to subtly tell the party the weakness of the BBEG, the big bad evil guy. The poster writes, I have made a total OP BBEG, but once the party knows their weakness, they are very easy to beat. How should I subtly tell them what the weakness is?
Oh, well, they wear a target on their chest, pointing exactly where the arrow needs to go to kill them.
Perfect. My thought process is, why do you want to tell them where the weakness is? That seems like a really terrible idea. Why did you create a big bad evil guy that's OP only to just tell everybody what the weakness is? That seems kind of silly. Like, hey, everybody, here's Achilles. You get to fight Achilles. Isn't that great? Oh, by the way, the heal. Just hit the heal once. It's a Dark Souls boss where it's like, no, just press the button. Okay. Why'd you make the bad guy so evil and powerful? It's that Mysterio fight from Spider-Man. Where he gets like 50 health bars, but actually you just punch him once and he goes down immediately.
Just all of them. I feel like it's one of those weird things, like you want to make a really overpowered bad guy, and I get that. You want them to be scary, intimidating, but then also giving them a really giant weakness. Like, you don't subtly... I feel like you don't really subtly let the party know. You don't tell them. They have to find out.
They gotta earn that.
Not only do they have to earn it, they have to figure it out. They have to figure out, like, look into this bad guy's, like, backstory. It's like, oh, Superman's really a tough guy to beat right now. I have no idea how we're gonna beat this guy. And maybe look into his nemesis that he murdered Lex Luthor and what Lex was researching, and this weird green stone that Lex seemed to, like, really be obsessed with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, like, what is this? And then you realize it's kryptonite and it came from outer space, and you realize Superman's actually an alien from outer space. Yeah. And you're like, wonder if this green rock will hurt this alien.
I feel like there's a whole campaign that you just build around the idea that you have to figure out what the weakness of the big bad evil guy actually is, so that they can defeat the evil character at the end of all of this. Like, depending on what kind of evil character you're building, there probably is an intrinsic weakness to them. Vampires have them, mummies, sorcerers, anything like that. There's definitely things that you can do. Chances are, if it's a spellcaster, there might be a spell focus that they have that you might be able to take away. If you're a rogue, we determined that on the last episode, you might be able to steal it away. Or they get their power from somewhere and you need to cut them off from it. They're vulnerable at certain times of the day. But I don't just want to just kind of like hint and say, oh, by the way, it seems to be a glowing spot on his back.
It's one thing if you've got a very obvious glaring, like, weakness, like, oh, yeah, your perception check lets you see that they've got a slight, like, a pause with their arm or something like that. Like, maybe they don't have full motion with it. Oh, yeah. They're covering it up by using their other hand.
Yeah.
But, like, they've got that their shield arm looks a little lower than it should be for using a shield properly, so maybe they've got this weakness. Like, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But, like, oh, yeah, no, he's allergic to garlic.
I think that it would be far more interesting, though, if you just don't tell them and have the party have to figure it out. Like, for instance, and they could even do it after they encounter the bad guy. Like have them realize that this character is far too powerful for them, to the point where they're probably going to have to retreat and reevaluate. And then, once that happens, have them make some observations about what they saw. You know, you could give them information if they're looking for something specific, like that shield arm. And then maybe they could do research and they could find that, he was in a battle and he had gotten cut on the arm, and so now that's actually, he doesn't really have full mobility in that particular arm, and that could be something that you could exploit. Maybe you find out that he has either a fiscal or a financial or a political backing of some kind, and that you can cut him off from those, that you can deal with him in a different way than directly going up to him and starting smacking him with the sword. But I feel like it's more interesting if the party has to encounter an OP character, realize that they are not equipped to deal with it in the traditional way that they plan, and then have to go back and reevaluate that they should have thought about this a little bit more. Because that's going to inform them that, yes, this is not just a cut and dry run up and start smacking it with a sword and throwing fireballs.
I think another subtle way you could do, if you wanted to do this kind of thing, is if you had rumors being spread. How, like in the segment before, we were talking about town rumors.
Sure. Maybe
not even just town rumors, but like maybe however wide their area of influence is that you're dealing with them. Maybe across your travels, you encounter many different rumors about this person.
Sure.
And some of them are fanciful, or just super far-fetched. But then there's the occasional rumor that, like, kind of piques your interest. You always see him wearing a silver chain around his neck. I've heard that it was enchanted by an oracle decades ago. You hear something about that, and you're like, what? And then you, like, see a picture and notice that, he's got this thing around his neck. And maybe someone else says, I've heard he's blessed with immortality from an enchanted item he wears, for instance. So something like a bunch of rumors that just kind of add up and you can piece together, and it's like, turns out this guy's got an amulet of immortality. So you somehow figure out a way to steal this or get rid of it or disenchant it, and the guy's gonna crumble into dust.
There's a lot of things that you can do, but I feel like the general takeaway is that the players have to in some way initiate the investigation of that. Just coming out and saying it is going to be tricky. Even if you're doing it in a fairly subtle way, there's so much more reward if the players say, I'm going to investigate something, and you're like, oh, what are you going to investigate? And try to lead them to it. But because they asked for it, it means a lot more to them. If you just kind of like go, look at the chandelier above his head. That has a loose chain.
What is this bow doing here on this balcony during this wedding?
Yeah, just start using references from things that you took it from. Remember the Red Wedding?
I don't.
Yeah, but you just hope that somebody in your player base does. And then just say, yeah, boy, this feels a lot like that. That would be great. I like the idea you were talking about, though, that rumors in a town can be useful. Especially if it's something that you can throw in when your players actively look to investigate or do observations, and you can kind of throw a hint of something bigger that maybe they'll take note of, maybe they won't. And
it's always possible that, like, you give them a couple red herrings and then a lead, So what you do is give them the stuff that's really just out there and not even true at all, but it's a rumor. It doesn't have to be. And then you throw in something that's got a little bit of truth or something that's exactly true, and they might follow up the wrong lead. So maybe they think this guy's actually doesn't have an amulet of immortality. Maybe they think he's some kind of, like, shape changer. They bring all the stuff to deal with the shape changer at the final battle, and it's like, yeah, you guys prepped for the wrong thing. It's not a shape changer. It's like you did your research and it was thorough, but it was incorrect and you jumped to the wrong conclusion. So now it's not even that you're punishing for it at that point. It's like, I feel like if that happens, it should be part of, like, the roleplay where it's like, oh, we done fucked up. This guy isn't a shape changer, and now we're getting our asses beat. I feel like that's just good storytelling at that point. The players might be a little upset. You don't want to make it so hard that they get it wrong and they feel bad and stupid about it, but, like, in that case, you'd probably give plenty of chances for them to go and figure out the lead is wrong, but they might just fully believe in this. Their characters might just full on be like, yeah, no, we're embracing this.
Yeah.
And the players might just be like, we're pretty sure we're wrong, but the characters think they're right, so they're going to go for it. And as a GM, I hope you would go full tilt with that.
Oh, yeah. Your shape changer is in another castle. In the meantime, you got to deal with this one.
Yeah.
Totally.
Maybe you actually encountered a shape changer taking the shape of this guy, but not actually this guy.
Right. I guess I would just caution against doing the thing that a lot of people would be really tempted to do, which is to just outright try to, without being prompted, just suggest that there is a weakness that can be exploited for massive gain. Because it starts to feel very railroaded, like the agency is not in the player's hands anymore. I would feel a little cheated by it as a player. Oh, gee, would you look at that? There's a lever off to the side, and ooh, he's standing on something that looks like a trapdoor? Who knows? It's like, oh, so I just have to go pull the lever, huh? Oh, I don't know.
And of course, then you pull the lever and you fall through a trapdoor. Ha!
That would be, oh my god. Can you imagine if the trapdoor was where the lever actually was? That would be amazing.
Yeah, it's just a weighted lever.
What you do is you set up a whole scenario where this is like a really inept trap maker. Yet you pull the lever back, and then, like, a plume of acid shoots into your face from the handle of the lever.
There you go. The handle just comes off and out pops a grenade.
Does anyone out there have any ideas about what you would do about your big bad evil guy having a weakness? Or, and this is the bigger question I had, why would you give your big bad evil guy a weakness that was obvious?
Crippling weakness to breathing.
Exactly. All the shields in the front, and nothing in the back. You just go around the back. Backstabbing damage.
He's just got really bad asthma, guys.
He's just got really bad asthma. Have him run after you.
Yep.
Run away.
Fear, make him run away, and then he'll collapse.
There you go. Yeah, the whole key to winning the boss battle is to run away and let him run out of breath.